Good morning. It's Wednesday, our last Wednesday in August 26th, 2020. And so today I'm going to be giving one last talk on our theme of truth. And then I'm never talking about the truth again. Just kidding. Uh, I make sure I'm okay. No, yeah. So we are going to talk about the truth. And I have encouraged everyone to share a little bit in Nowhere Village about what's come through for you and your inquiry into what's really true for you, and how the truth works. And in other words, how does the universe work? How do you work? Uh, what's reality? And that's a really big question. So maybe understandably, a lot of you didn't post about it. Judy posted something really, really beautiful that I'm gonna share with her permission in the video, and I hope that it inspires all of you to also um, to share a little bit. I think that these things can be really intimidating, right? And we say, oh, who am I to be able to what am I, some kind of philosopher, right? That I'm going to be able to articulate about the truths of reality. And what I we were actually all just singing. We all just sang. Those of us that are on live, we've been singing the song and passing it around, and each taking a little turn. And I was thinking and sharing with everyone before the video started that, for so much of my life, I've wanted so much to be perceived as good at things, and I don't want to embarrass myself by not being a professional singer if I'm ever going to open my mouth, for instance. And this version of what success is, or being good at something is, um, has kept me from doing a lot of things in my life that would have just brought me joy, and from enjoying things that other people are doing without judging. And it's kept me in this idea of what I'm supposed to be doing here on this planet, as opposed to really following spirit, following the Tao. I'm gonna read from the Tao Te Ching for us today a little bit. Um, the way of reality. And so it's and this is actually something we're going to talk about some next month. Next month we're going to dive into the theme of vision. What is your vision for the future? What is your vision for the world that you'd like to live in? And a lot of what we're going to have to be doing at the beginning, and we've already been doing it, right, is to sort of clear away all these things that we think we should be focusing on, and clear away all of these beliefs and a lot of shoulds. Um, so we'll be talking about this more next month, and I may even get to it a little bit today, about how important it is in the spiritual practice. This is something I haven't talked about a lot. And last night I was like, I should talk about this more. Um, we need to be able to feel free the best word I could come up with last night is play, to play. And when I look for myself at what keeps me from singing when I feel like singing, or, um, last year I started, last winter, I started playing basketball, which I had no background in or anything, and was really bad at it first. And it was like, brought up some really interesting old ego stuff, right? But then I ended up having a lot of fun, and I got better. I got a lot better by the end of the season. I was playing at like a local YMCA women's league. But things like that, like even a year before, I probably wouldn't have done it, even though it was a whole lot of fun. And at first I was doing it and couldn't have fun. So anyway, it's something we're going to talk about more, is daring to just go and try something that we, and just spend some time engaging in things, not because we're going to get praise for it or going to be the best at it, not because it's for work, not because it's to make money, not because it's, for us to be successful according to these ideals. So the same with philosophizing, the same um, with investigating reality for yourself and daring to start articulating for yourself what it's all about. You sing because you have a voice. We play games and sports and run around because we have bodies, and we have these little, you know, bodies come with, just like I see all of the animals out here running around. They're always, active, and then they rest. But we have bodies. Our bodies move, and to take pleasure in that is a gift. And we are all philosophers because we have this intelligence. And we also do all of it because if we don't use these parts of ourselves, we suffer. And the truth is, you're already philosophizing. You already have these worldviews. You already have these ideas. And until we do this work of articulating them, they're working under the surface and working in ways that may or may not be serving us. We don't really know. But if we're suffering, probably a good idea to go ahead and investigate. And so I trust that you're all doing that anyway, even though I haven't gotten a share from everyone. I'm going to go ahead and read Judy's share, and then maybe that'll just inspire you a little bit. And then I'm going to share a little from the Tao Te Ching. Okay, so this is our dear friend and beloved founding member, Judy, who wrote this. I had a hard time finding a truth that really felt authentic, very internally driven. It's exactly what we want, right? Of course, love, honesty, humility, but I searched for something more basic, and suddenly it came through me. The universe, life, it continues. The world, in theory, is round. Life is round. It doesn't begin or end. It changes shapes and forms. It ebbs and flows. On a universe life scale, it is like the ocean, in, out, calm, rough, beautiful, scary, accepted, challenged, joyful, painful. And so it is with us tiny humans. We, on our tiny scale, mirror this place in which we live. We, me, I am, the speck. The Horton hears a who. So how can we not expect the ebbs and flows, the joys and sorrows, when the truth is that the universe is constantly shifting? Thank you so much for that. I got chills when I read it, and I really am grateful to share it with all of you, and to keep engaging with all of you and Judy about these really big questions, because what's amazing is, as you said, you're looking for something basic, and I've been kind of really pushing you guys, and we'll keep doing this in our inquiry practice to get down to kind of the core of things. And along the way, we will run into obstacles, just like she did. It's hard. It was hard for her, She posted this yesterday after all month I've been saying post, right? It was like kind of a month of, and I remember earlier in the month, Judy saying, these are hard prompts this month. I don't know about this, right? Um, you know, before I started going deeply into Eastern philosophy and all of these practices, I studied Western philosophy, and one of my favorite figures in Western philosophy is Socrates. Socrates, like Nisargadatta, didn't write. He didn't sit around by himself and pen things and then present them for the world to enjoy. He went around and just talked to people throughout Athens, right? Would just engage, if anybody would just engage with you about the truth. And there's this concept that gets brought up, and we have Socrates. Like I want to be like that. I don't want to have to be like create. I want to just wander around the world speaking truth. but but luckily we only get direct access to Socrates because of Plato, because of his student who wrote. He did write. Um, and so Plato writes about this about this moment that Socrates always brings you to, which is called aporia, and porous. You can get through it, and in the beginning negates it, and so aporia is the place where you cannot pass. It's that hard wall you get up to when you're trying to find the truth, and that usually there's several of them, but usually there's one real big one in every every Socratic dialogue that Plato wrote. And this is really helpful to remember, that the loving guru that we can trust the most will bring us to our hard wall where we've been hitting our head. You know, that that isn't the bad place to be. That's essential. And we don't totally know how long we got to stand at that wall, because our normal tools don't break through it. Usually it's trying to grasp after our normal tools that's created it. So, and so I do try to push you guys to get beyond, you know, your ideas of things, and try to get to something that feels true, right? I'm just seeing there's chats in here. People really loved that quote, Judy. Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. Beautiful share. And I'll get to Sveta's in a second. Um, yeah. Pushing to get to the place of like most basic, right? Like most true. There's a really good reason for this. Because if we kind of find something kind of easy, low hanging on the shelf, like, oh, here's my truth. It's good, right? Did a good job. It was easy. you know? Um, and I do want you, like, the whole idea of some of this stuff is like, some of this stuff you'll take with you forever, and that'll just stay, and that'll be something you're like, no, this is actually like right here. I got this one, until maybe a new inquiry practice or a new crisis or a new suffering brings you to something new or deeper. There are things that, of course, that are like that, but we do inquiry around the things that we don't understand quite yet. We do inquiry around the things that are causing us suffering. We do inquiry around the things that are blocking the path. And so going on the journey and like trying to really push ourselves to that place where we get to the clearest possible truths is important. And it's important because it brings us to the aporia, which is the place where we see that it's our own knowledge that's in the way. Knowledge, right? And it's important because that truth that everyone is wowing, in its wisdom, and some truths I'm about to share with you from the Tao Te Ching. These, all the things that I teach from my beloved Nisargadatta. Why do these truths like do something different, do something for us? Somebody could come and explain to me what's going on inside biologically, and it might make me, wow, interested. Um, Maybe this is a bad example, because I think that for some people, if their path is like biology and science, it might be this kind of ha 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 moment. But anyway, what I'm saying is, when you do encounter something and it makes you go, wow, investigate that for yourself. But for me, I find it's usually the truth just boiled down to such simplicity. We just sang simple gifts, right? Boiled down to such simplicity that there's something that feels like, yeah, like revelatory about being in the presence of that. It's like it's standing there naked. And the invitation for you to also put down all of your posturing and all of your successfulness and all of your knowledge, and just be naked in the truth together is like such a refreshing invitation. And when we get down to what's really basic, and we know that we've done the journey to get there, the outcome is trust. Trust. And what Judy just shared, and she did all that work, and now we all get to like benefit. We can all take some of that with us, right? The same way that I take my teachers around with me in their quotes, and I kind of like, I get to. It's like they did that work, and now I'm taking it. I still have to do the work of integrating that wisdom, but we get to share in it, right? That's that's really sweet. And then what we can do with this is take it along with us as something that we can really trust and we can return to on our journey over and over again. And what Judy articulated is something that she can now, throughout her day, and maybe this has already happened since she articulated, throughout the day, check in when there's suffering or when it's challenging, when you're being pulled out of meditation. Where are you not accepting that it's a circle? When are you not accepting the ebbs and flows? When are you fighting that ocean? And how can you stop fighting and surrender to it? You know? And then the meditation tools that come that she's developing for herself will be coming from that. We need some point of reference to come back to, and the more basic our truth is, the more kind of foundational it is, the more we can land on it and then launch back off of it, take refuge in it. And then go forth from it, when we're rested, when we're ready, yeah. So, and that trust piece, I talk about a lot, like finding the lights like coming through the trees, and my, blocked by some other stuff over here. So, um, I talk about trust a lot because for me, uh, uh, when I'm being pulled out of meditation, it's because I don't trust. And guess what? Also, when I lie, when I don't tell the truth. And, I've been dedicated to the truth a real long time now. And I mostly don't lie to others unless I'm already lying to myself. Like that's mostly where I'm at. But there's definitely a time. I remember when I first learned about the yamas and niyamas, if any of you have learned about those. And if you did a yoga teacher training, you did, right? And the first one is don't harm, and the second one's don't lie. And and I remember kind of pondering the not lying thing, and just starting to see for myself the little ways that I would still kind of manipulate people or tell people part truths, or all of this. Anyway, it's all the same. When I'm if I'm lying, if I am avoiding being in the present, my meditation practice. Why? It's because I want, well, in a simple way, out of self-interest, we would say, right? Out of self-interest. Because I think that for some reason it's going to be beneficial for me to lie. Which means that I think that the truth is bad for me, or the truth is the wrong way. I want to talk about this more with the language of the Tao Te Ching. Um, but a few weeks ago I was talking about how in the Yoga Sutras, uh, you know, it says that all of our manufactured thoughts come from one thought, which is I am separate. And then right after retreat, I was saying letting go of the me and the mine, right? That like the ideas of me, mine, that these generate all of the suffering. And so I'm also going to address here today, I'm going to end up addressing a question that Lindsay asked a few weeks ago about identify how do I let go of the self, and how do I believe that the self is uh, responsible for all the good and all the bad in the world. These are all related because it has to do with how we view the self. Yeah, I'm gonna let the Tao Te Ching start us off on this teaching. I'm gonna actually just go ahead and look at Sveta message here from a while ago. Liberating and legalizing pleasure, shifting from leading our life by following shoulds to following your desires is challenging for many of us, and is so great when we're able to get a glimpse of it. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, and Sveta's teaching about that in a group program right now. So reach out to her or reach out to me if you can't find her. That's so much about that. Yeah, I love it. And then Pam says, I found it really funny and really weird when I started noticing how I lie to myself, and when I catch myself beginning to share the lie as if it's true. When I notice, it's creepy and funny and a clear lesson. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, thank you. It is. And we all have to, I really had to get over the shoulds and the judgments about that being true, that everyone kind of tries that on. I remember my first lie. I don't know if I've shared this. I remember the first time I tried lying and how weird it felt. I remember it making me feel separate. I had finger painted on the wall, finger paints as a kid, very small kid. And my mom came and said, did you do that? And I said, nope. And I remember the moment, I remember feeling like a division, I felt separate. I felt separate from my mom. And I felt separate from myself because it was like, and I think this is why it was an early memory. Most stuff we don't really remember from that time. It was like I could see myself. It was like I was watching myself say these words. And it was like it wasn't me, because I could stand there and go, that's called lying. And you're not supposed to do it. And it's like, why are you doing it? And so I can do inquiry on that. And, it's interesting. It's like sometimes it's easier to do inquiry on stuff that's so distant because you can get space on it, right? And this is really important. One of the reasons why meditation is so important is because we need space in order to do the inquiry. If I'm so convinced that this ego self is me, if I'm so close up on me, I don't get the perspective. And so yeah, like letting go of this, shame and judgment around lying, and just seeing how we try it. I think I know the friend that I was kind of imitating or like trying out because they lied a lot, I remember, to their parents. And so it is in this world. It is in this world. And we give it a go. Everybody else is doing it, right? Or other people are doing it. We try it on. And where we're all at right now, and the reason that we're all here this morning, not doing a million other things we could be doing, because we're interested in not just imitating anymore, not just blindly going along just because other people are doing it, but looking for ourselves, deciding for ourselves what's true and what's right. And it's not easy, a lot of the time. So thank goodness we have teachers. Um, there's so much in this, and this is my favorite translation. Actually, also Aaron Berthe also recommended this to me a few years ago, and I've just like basically haven't put it down since. Um, and I'd come across the Tao Te Ching before, but never a translation that like really took me in. And now it's been such an important book. And there's so many quotes that are like this that and it's already 8:30 somehow. So and then I don't want to keep us on much longer. So um, I'm just gonna I'll just start. Yes, that's a great question. Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot in here that's like this, but in 55, it says, "The master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly without desire. He never expects results. Thus, he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed. Thus, his spirit never grows old." The master doesn't seek fulfillment, not seeking, not expecting. She is present and can welcome all things. This idea of this comes up a lot also, like the master does the work and lets it go. That is why it lasts forever. This idea of showing up and then letting go of the results, letting go of our expectations. And this also speaks back to this thing I've been talking about a lot in the last few weeks about what pleases us keeps us back, right? What's in my self-interest, right? This is what causes us to go away from the Tao, is when my self-interest is pitted against the interest of the universe. So Sveta wants to hear more about the connection between the human little lies, like the finger paint, but still, or something bigger, but something that's human stuff, and the connection to the universal truth. That's a great question, and one that I recommend investigating for yourself. But what I found is that when I do inquiry into the realities of the universe, and I come up with something kind of like Judy came up with, right? That's like, oh, and a lot of what she's speaking to, we've been speaking about in these weeks. Good and bad aren't real in the universal sense, right? Because, like she was saying, if you look at the ocean, if my self-interest is I'm a little human in a boat and I don't want to drown, uh good is clear sailing, right? Clear skies and a nice breeze, right? Or whatever. Bad is a big tumultuous storm, or being out in the middle of somewhere with no breeze and a sail. Good, bad, right? That's all relative to my self-interest. But once we understand all of this, all of this, all of these teachers that I'm always bringing in and teaching from, and all of these things that we're talking about here, it's because once we see ourselves as the universe, as the ocean, there is no good and bad. There is no death, or every time we die, we are reborn. Or okay, that I should have said that. There is death, and death isn't bad. Death is the exhale. Death is winter. Death is absolutely necessary, right? And so what I mean is, when I'm in that mode, as I get more and more, as I trust that more and more, that trust allows me to say, yeah, I painted on the wall. That's bad, isn't it? You know, rather than I painted on the wall and then I lied. And then I'm just gonna have to like spend the rest of my life basically like continuing this trend, right? But the vulnerable moment where we say, yeah, no, what it is when we refuse to lie about something that we've done, even though it might help us out, right? Maybe I could have avoided punishment. Maybe my brother would have gotten punished. Oh my God, I would have felt really bad. Actually, it would have been worse. But maybe I can get away with something. We have a president who's doing this all the time, right? Such a great example of someone who has a really narrowly defined version of self, and everything is about self-interest and self-protection. And it's crazy, right? It's like to the extreme. But we all do this in little ways. Um I'm gonna this is like perfect segue into what I'm gonna say. Yes. What I want to say next, or yeah, and then I'm gonna read Lee's question. All right. Success is as dangerous as failure. Hope is as hollow as fear. What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. When you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms that arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as the self, what do we have to fear? See the world as yourself. Have faith in the way things are. love the world as yourself, then you can care for all things. And this is a theme that comes up a ton in the Upanishads. Maybe I'll share some of those with you too soon. In in the Heart Sutra from Buddhism, another of my favorite texts, this idea that if we can see the world as the self, we don't have fear anymore. We don't have suffering anymore. And it is, you know, I brought up Lindsay's question before, and it's about doing this really kind of, for most of us, like a kind of a leap of imagining that what accomplishes things, that what makes my life successful, right, is an ego self, is a separate self. And if I didn't believe in success or failure, I wouldn't ever need to lie. Maybe if I also didn't believe in pleasure and pain. Yeah, but success and failure is usually why. Why? All right, I'm going to address Lee's question and then we'll wrap it up for the morning. Okay. How can we practice trusting that our sharing benefits others, that are sharing benefits others instead of being in self-interest? Hey, look at me. Look what I learned. I struggle with the two sides of wanting to share myself because that's what we're here to do, and the stories that I will be seen as selfish or self-serving for wanting to. And then it sounds like after Pam agrees, she struggles with this too. And then Lee says, in that message, I hear that dropping the boundary between myself and others is the key to building that trust. Dropping the boundary between myself and others. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, again, I think kind of a tough mental exercise for us to do. And it does take practice. But something that's been really helpful for me is reminding myself of how much of this reality is already unconscious anyway, and then giving myself permission to let go of being the controller, right? The one who's manipulating. That's why we pop out of meditation. That is why we lie, because underneath it we think we could do a better job at truth than reality. But think about, like, your digestive system and like all these things that are happening right now, or your internal world. So much of it is already unconscious. Nature, the Tao, the universe is already doing it. And so this lesson that comes again and again, let things be. Let things be. And we get trapped because we think, well, I think actually, Lee, like, to answer to, like, I want to go back to what I was saying at the very beginning of this talk to sort of address your question, which is, if it's self-serving if it is self-serving, and if it is a, like, look at me, and sometimes we can do something really sweet and I'll have a little taste of that, and that's okay, right? But, like, you know you will be trying to get something out of it. You will be trying to get something out of it, and I think that that's something to really look at. And this idea of success, right? Success is as dangerous as failure. because they're the same thing. Success and failure, right? Pleasure and pain. We've talked about this a lot. Punya, apunya. They're actually the same. They're just two experiences of the same thing, which is the illusion that somebody's going to be able to like praise you to enlightenment, that you're going to be able to get enough validation, that you're going to be able to get enough success. Look at anybody that you like, you see them just like striving and striving. Are they ever satisfied? Do they ever achieve the Tao by getting enough likes on a Facebook post or whatever, right? And so this is what I have to do for me. I'm hooked up exactly like that, Lee. Totally. So like what I've been doing for myself, my inquiry, a lot of my witnessing has been about, what are you trying to get out of that? What are you trying to get out of that? Right? I painted on the wall because I was try to get out of pain, suffering, punishment. I didn't want my mom to be mad at me. In my last relationship, I had a partner that lied a lot, and it all came out at the end. And it made so much sense, like years of just, what's going on here? And it just didn't occur to me that it was like a lot of it was just like, not, this person really lied a lot about some big things. And in the end, when he finally was coming clean, I said, why did you lie to me? And he said, I didn't want you to leave me. And then I had to leave him, because of the lying, not because of the coming true, not because of but because there's like too many years of this. Like I had to go away and just like sort it out. But this is what I mean is that like we do it because we think it's gonna serve us. We do it at the end of the day. It's the same reason we do everything, because of love. But it doesn't get us to love. The untruth never gets us to truth. And so for me, just looking, why do I think it would be better for somebody to applaud me right now? For me, often a lot of what I've done in my whole life has been for applause. And then I could the inquiry from that. Why do I think I need applause? Okay, I think I need applause because I want to be loved and I want to belong. Why do you think that's going to get you that? Well, if I don't, so you can kind of, and this is what I was doing a lot on my retreat, and now I'm just doing it throughout. Anytime that my meditation gets interrupted, anytime that there's a lie, anytime that I that I'm upset, right? Because why am I upset? I'm upset because all of my trying to manipulate things didn't work, because all my plans are falling apart. If I just was willing to let my plans go, I wouldn't suffer. All right. As always, there's so much so much to share. Yeah, Lee's like, so much in here. Yeah. And Sveta says this quote helped me get over the fear of sharing. When we allow our light to shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay. And so here's the last thing I'll say. Thank you, Sveta, for that. Um, yeah, that this, okay, that we do, until we can really just completely let go, we do need to have a sense of self, where we stand, and experiment with, yeah, what would it mean to, what if instead of Sveta or Lee, right, what if you were light? Sometimes I share the Alan Watts quote, "You are the universe, having a human experience." But this is the perspective that Nisargadatta is speaking from. This is the perspective that Lao Tzu is speaking from. I am the Tao. I am the unnameable. I am the limitless. And I'm so extraordinary that I can even take form like this. I can, this is the only way to take form, right? Form is always particular. So Lindsay's question was, I don't want to take responsibility for all the horrible shit in the world. You don't take responsibility for that as Lindsay. You take responsibility for it as light, as universe. And so what Sveta's saying is, I I share my truth because it's truth, not because it's mine, not because it's going to get me something or protect me from some pain. I sing because I have a voice. I sing for the same reason that the birds sing. They're not getting a Grammy, or a paycheck for it. I speak the truth because the truth is, and it wants to come through. Nisargadatta says the truth spoken just for the truth, words spoken just for love, always hit their mark. They always come true. It's in the Yoga Sutras too, right? The person who doesn't lie, everything they say comes true. A little bit of tautology, but that when we allow ourselves just to be because we are, everything in the universe gets to, we get to be in collaboration with it all. We are it all. And then there's no limit to our brightness, and there's no limit to the good we can do. And and there's no limit to the joy that we can feel and peace we can experience simply being with it exactly as it is. Or as Judy says, as it continues. Or that little phrase alone, right, could be a mantra. Oh, and Judy will wrap us up. She kind of started this off. Thank you, Erin, and everyone. Erin, you brought so much more to my insight to truth of the universe. I have so much more to mull over and also to help guide me and all these great questions. Powerful morning. Yeah. Oh, so wonderful to spend the morning with you all. And I look forward to spending many more mornings with you.